at 6:30. So I'll be on time at 6:30. But as of right now, I'm just kind of coming late for the most part. But not really late. It's not really late if you're planning to come for 8, right? It's just later than what we would usually come for. What's my opinion on no coffee for trading? I mean, yeah, I think at a certain point in my life, I didn't really drink coffee. I just woke up. But lately, or not lately, the past couple of, or the last year or so, I'll say, yeah, I've been drinking coffee every day before I trade. I mean, realistically, I don't think it makes a difference, but our win rate did go up. But then again, it's just because of experience, right? It's just because of the years that's gone by. So I don't think it has anything to do with coffee, to be honest. All right, let's lock it in. Let's lock it in and see what's going on, because I'm lost in the sauce. All right, so what do you got going on here today? Now, let's take a look. Oh, you have a new monthly candle, and wow, okay, cool. We close back below the range. So for those that, you know, watched my analysis the last 3 days during the New York session, I kept mentioning to you guys on the monthly, it's going to be very key how the wait, should I wait for news here in 4 minutes to play out and then do the analysis? I don't want to lose you guys. Actually, you know what, I just do the analysis now and just come back at like 8:15 and go back to my analysis, because it's gonna be a long analysis. So yeah, if you guys take a look at the monthly, right, we mentioned the last couple of days that we're waiting to see how price closes. Why? Because there's this one major resistance on price here, right? And it's right here, major resistance at 2000. Now, just because price is tapping a resistance doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to reject. And even if it does reject, right, listen to these words carefully, but like, even if price does reject, there's things that need to happen before price does reject, right? Think about it. If this is your resistance, right, and this is your support, price wouldn't just reject off of the resistance and come down to 1825 just within one candle. It has to print levels, it has to print structure, it has to print liquidity in order to correct that entire move, right? And chances of it correcting this whole entire move this month is very unlikely. If anything, we're highly prone, if anything, to close more doji, weak bearish maybe, or even bullish above the range, then come down towards 1850, right? So just because you're tapping resistance all the time doesn't always mean that you are going to be reversing off rip to continue to drive down, right? Now, I mentioned the last 3 days that it doesn't really matter where price closes at all, bullish above the range or bullish respecting resistance. Those are your only two outcomes, because no matter how we close, right, no matter how the monthly closes, it's gonna come up and tap into 2040 before it does anything else. If price were to drive up, obviously it's gonna fly past 2040, right? But if it were to drive down, you're gonna see 2040. Why 2040? Because that is your next minor resistance to the left here. So you're closing bullish respecting resistance, right? You still have a strong bullish closure here, right? This is still a bullish closure at the end of the day, right? It's still one candle that came up from 1800. Price wouldn't just all of a sudden just do this, you know what I mean? It wouldn't just come down and do this. If it does that, you'll see something like this happen first. You'll see a high being broken, a high being taken out, right? And then you'll see that form, right? So I am expecting 2040 to be tapped, even if you were to drive down. And obviously if you drive up, you're gonna tap 2040, obviously, right? But that's what I'm kind of expecting. Minimum the wick fill, and then once you fill that wick, you should be up towards like these levels to the left. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anywhere from 2030 to 2040. So obviously, if that's what I'm expecting for the monthly, I can look for buys for a majority of the first half of the month. So let me actually take a pause in the analysis chat, because there's news here in about 7 seconds here. Let's just see how this plays out. We're not trading this, right? Our next trade chat potentially is gonna be at 8:30. So don't worry about this. Could be a big push, could be a small push. I don't know. I haven't gone down to the small time frame, but I'm assuming it should be able to break the highs. Yeah. So look, there's a resistance form here, right? So like, let's see if this candle is able to flip or not. If we can break above like, what was it, off rip, I can see if we can break above like 92 and then flip bearish on the 1 hour time frame, we can probably just take sells at like 83 coming down towards 77. But I want to see it come up towards 92 first. Similar to what I did on last Thursday. Remember last Thursday, chat? Or no, it was a Monday, I think. Monday stream we did that. Monday stream, very similar play on price. Where's Monday? Monday was over here somewhere, right? Yeah, this is Monday, I think. This one right here. Close, respecting resistance, right? Came up, top wick, flip bearish, then you had to drive down. I think that was what we were looking at on Monday. All right, anyways, that was news. Back to my monthly analysis. So yeah, that's the monthly. Again, expecting price to tap into 2030s, 2040s before doing anything else this month. It would be great if the first thing price does this month is continue to drive up for November, because then you have a higher chance to flip bearish. Again, price might not even flip bearish for all I know, right? But what we do know is that our next advantage point is going to be 2030 to 2040. I'm gonna go and find a precise decision level as we drop down to the weekly and daily. But for now, it's going to be roughly 2030, 2040. So keep that in mind. Again, that if you were to drive up for the monthly, meaning that if you were to even close above for the monthly, again, 2040 is going to get tapped, right? Because that's just your next resistance on price. If you were to close above the range, right, like this, you'll see us tap 24s, obviously, right? If you were to close bearish at resistance, again, you'll see a tap in 2040 either this candle or next month's candle, December's candle, to drive down. But you'll see the break of the highs. You'll see liquidity being grabbed, because there needs to be a lot of liquidity if you were to drive down, and if you were to drive up, then you're just driving up, right? So that's pretty straightforward. The weekly here is you have 2 days and 9 hours left on price. So 2 days and 9 hours left. It looks like you do have are some major levels here that you could account for, but I think what I'm looking at for the monthly is I'm looking at this to the left here. I'm noticing that there's this resistance on price here at 2020, and there's this support here at 1960, and that's the range you're in. So similar to what I said on the monthly, I would assume that the weekly candle here, or the weekly time frame in overall, right, should be able to tap into 2020s, because this is the range you're breaking into, and this right here to the left is your previous range here, right? So if you guys take a look here in this pink zone, this is your previous range, right? And that's the range you're kind of closing back into, right? You can see this candle to the left that I highlighted in green here, closed bullish above this resistance, right, back into the range. So you're now expecting price to come up to fill the range, right? And price did come up to fill the range in the next candle. This candle over here to the left did come to the right, did come up, right? But it never tapped into 2020s. There's some room left over, and I would assume that even if you don't tap it this month, worst case, remember this week, worst case, you close bearish here, right? Let's say you close bearish for the week like this. Next week's candle, you see the break of the highs, because even if you were to drive down, price likely will tap into that zone before driving down. And if price were to drive up, then obviously it's going to tap into that zone, right? But even if you were to drive down, that's the level that likely will likely tap into to grab liquidity, right? Very similar to, like, I guess you can say this, where you had no top wick there, the next candle came up, and then you saw to move down, right? It's just liquidity to drive down. Very similar to that play. Similar to this too, right? Like before you had to move down, you kind of just came up, retest the highs, right, to fill the range, and then you make your move down. So like there's a very high chance that you will see wicks into 2020 minimum if you were to drive down. So if we're expecting wicks into 2020, then we can probably take buys up towards 2020 for the weekly, right? It's just, will today be the day, or will next week be the days where we drive up? Again, FOMC is today, so today's FOMC price will affect price, and then also following FOMC on Friday, you have NFP, so that will be a problem as well, or an issue as well. So keep those things in mind. I think the daily here today looks like it closed bearish yesterday, so let's take a close look at where it closed. I think you got this support to the left over here on price. Let me make that yellow. You have this support here, and then you have this resistance up here, right? So this is the range you're in. Again, there's a range that, like, this is, if this is the range you're in, right, you can kind of see on the daily as well. Same thing with the weekly. You haven't tapped into these zones yet. You likely will tap into 2020s before you do anything else. High likely, right? Even if you were to drive up. So I would assume that you'll see 2020 because, like, this is just the range fill. The weekly, you're expecting a flip still to continue driving up. And as for the daily, you had no top wicks in these areas. So minimum, if not 2020, then you're going to see probably like 2011, 2012, right? In this box here. So that's what I'm kind of expecting for the daily. The daily also closed. Well, the daily closed heavily bearish today, so that might be a problem as well, but we'll figure it out later. But aside from that, the daily also closed respecting support, right? Never closed below these zones here, which it could today. You know, if FOMC pushes price down today, then I'll go down. You're going to see a close below the range, and then tomorrow, you might just get a continuation to the downside tomorrow, right? But if you end up closing bullish today, or if FOMC pushes price up towards 2020, then great, amazing. We'll be having buys up, right? But that's the daily. Technically we are bearish, so at any given point it could come down to fill the range at 2070, but the overall structure shows that we're still respecting support, right? So at any given point it could also still flip bullish. So how do you figure out what's going to happen if we're going to drive up today with the daily or drive down with the daily? We drop down to the smaller time frames, anywhere from the 4-hour time frame to the 5-minute time frame is what we'll use to our advantage here. So looks like the 4-hour candle is coming up here. You have about 37 minutes left until your 9 a.m. close, which is your 4-hour close. And if I'm not wrong, I think the 4-hour time frame here is still sitting below this range here to the left. So my bad, not that range, this range. You're still sitting below here. You haven't closed above here yet, right? You've never closed above. If that's your resistance, then this is your support down here at 2070. Let me check the daily real quick again. Yeah, so yeah, so that makes sense with the daily too. But yeah, this is the range you kind of broke into. You can kind of see that, you know, the last couple of candles since NY session yesterday closed back into the range. You had this candle to right here that closed bullish, but respecting resistance. You can see that you have no bottom wicks to the left over here. So you're asking yourself now, is there any given point today where price could come down to break the lows before making the move up, right? Because the daily, again, it hasn't tapped until 2070 yet, and 2070 is that decision level, right? Same thing with the 4-hour here as well. There's some range down here that price hasn't tapped into yet. So I'm assuming that even if you were to drive up on price on the daily, that you will be able to see this first, or you should be able to see this happen first. Well, I would like to see that happen first. It might not, right? If it happens, then great. If it's bullish on the daily, we can just take buys up, right, to retest the highs, or at least 1992, right? But you haven't tapped into 2070 yet, and you're still below his range here. So let's see how the 4-hour candle closes, because that will change things as well. For all I know, the 4-hour candle might end up closing bearish below the range in about 36 minutes. If it does do that, then you're going to see the next candle come down like this to fill the range. But if you do close bullish above the range on the 4-hour time frame in 36 minutes, then you can say maybe you might not tap 2070. You might just get a bottom wick towards like maybe like 2077, and then a push up towards 92 is what you're looking for. So if you close above, like if you end up closing above 1985, you can probably take buys going up on the 4-hour time frame from 85 up to 92. That's about it though. That's all I'm looking for, probably for the 9 a.m. candle. All right. So there's that on the 4-hour time frame. Still, we don't have a strong idea of what we're looking for just yet. We're just using the higher time frame to get overall direction and to bounce ideas off of each other. So this is when it probably gets important. All right. So you have a 30-minute closure here in about 5 minutes here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use the 30-minute and mark it off of that instead today. Let's see. So you have this resistance to the left over here. Or is it this resistance to the left over here? Or is it this resistance to the left over here? Let's see. Why not both? 86. Okay, so you want to see a closure above 86 probably. Yeah, 86 seems decent. You close above 86. you should be able to retest the highs and drive up towards 1992. That is what we had on the 4-hour time frame as well. That the 4-hour time frame showed us that exact same level. That's clutch. So that's the 4-hour. That's the 30-minute range. So yeah, if you do close above 87 here, chat, we could get some buys up towards 92. I'm just gonna try to figure out where the bottom wicks would be today. Today on price, if we were to get buys going up, or if we just enter off the rip like yesterday, right? But today's a little different from yesterday. So what else is there to see here? There's also this support to the left around here. Most recent, nothing major. It's not like we're buying or selling off of these levels. These are just major levels for closures. But yeah, around here should be a pretty decent level on price at 2076. That's the most recent support. So yeah, I'll say if I want a bottom wick today on price to drop up, I would prefer a bottom wick in these zones here, to be honest. If we can tap into like 79, that'd be perfect. You know, bottom wicks here, potential buys here going up, because what you'll see is you'll see like this first, right? You'll see price go up, but you'll see this happen, and then that'll be a nice drive up, right? Because then look left, all you're doing really is you're mirroring this move to the left, right? If you were to get a bottom wick towards 1979. Now there's no guarantee of a bottom wick happening there, but it's there for if it were to happen, right? So if price for some reason today comes down towards 79 and taps into those zones, we can look for potential buys. But very key to understand that there is some strong major support here. So price needs to close respecting those levels while tapping into 79, if that makes sense, right? So you want to see, like, for instance, you want to see this happen. You want to see like price, if it were to close bearish, you only want to see a close bearish max respecting 83, right? Or even bullish doji, you want to see a close respecting, right? And then you get a bottom wick all of a sudden like this, and then you get that drive up, right? But your confirmation for support being held is going to be this today. These couple of candles here that respect 92 or 82, if that were to happen, right? So that's what I got going on. Understand, chat, if you don't close above 86 here in about 2 minutes, that's okay as well. We can also close above here, which can also drive price, but I would prefer a closure above here, above 87. I think I had up based off of the most recent resistance instead. But yeah, any given point, price could still also flip bearish here. You have 2 minutes left into the 30-minute close. You have about 32 minutes left into the 1-hour close. The 1 hour has no bottom wick. There's a strong resistance here, right? These candles to the right have all closed weak, bullish, respecting resistance. So it could end up rejecting any given point. So I'm a little worried about that happening on price. Hence why I need a closure, and then I need a bottom wick likely to happen to take buys up. Could we get sells today? Yes, we can probably catch sells today, but again, I think I said earlier during the analysis, if the 1-hour candle drives up towards 92 and then ends up flipping bearish on the 1 hour at 83, then you can take sells on the 1 hour flip, bearish flip down towards 1976. You can probably grab that pull, because again, the 1 hour candle is still respecting this resistance to the left. Any given point, what can happen on the 1 hour, even though 30-minute might close above, is you can see this happening, right? So that's the only way I can get sells. If you tap into 92, I'll take wick entries there down. If not, then you know what, we don't get a position, you know, and that's okay as well. But let me go ahead and mark that up just so you guys won't be confused. Probably be around these areas to the left here. Right there should be good. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. Oh wait, also one more boom actually. Boom. Pretty good. Should be good there. 93.460 for potential sells, and then buys at 79.